And I don't mean lazy in the get out the vote operation sense of lazy. There's some of that too. I mean lazy in a deeper sense of defining who we are and what we actually stand for. The left, say what you will, they're very good at this. They will give you a vision. It's not the right vision, but they'll sell you something. Race, gender, sexuality, climate. And we're sitting here complaining about that without offering a vision of what we actually stand for. What does it mean to be a Republican in the year 2024? What does it mean to be an American in the year 2024? To me, it means we believe in the ideals of 1776. Ideals like the rule of law. And I say this as the kid of legal immigrants to this country. That means your first act of entering this country cannot break the law. That's why I've said we will use our own military to secure our own southern border in the United States and our northern border too. That's what it means to stand for the rule of law in the United States of America. It means that we, the people, create a government that is accountable to us, not the other way around. That the people who we elect to run the government ought to be the ones who actually run the government. Not the shadow government in the deep state that's actually pulling the strings today. You want to drain the swamp? Here's how we're going to do this. I will fire 75% of the federal bureaucrats in my first term in office. We will get half of that done in the first year. That's how you drain the swamp. Shut down government agencies that should no longer exist. The FBI, the ATF, the CDC, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, the U.S. Department of Education. We will get in there and shut them down. That's what we got to do. Incremental reform doesn't work. Other people will say, fire Christopher Wray. What are you talking about? You had James Comey 2.0 afterwards. An 8-headed hydra. You cut off one head, it grows right back. You have to strike it at its heart. There's 35,000 employees at the FBI. 20,000 of them are back office bureaucrats. We'll send them home. The 15,000 cops on the front lines, will move them to the U.S. Marshals or to the DEA, both of which have been far more effective at fighting child sex trafficking rings or the fentanyl epidemic than the FBI has been. These aren't just slogans to me. This is a deeply practical plan for every one of these agencies. The Department of Education will shut that down. Not because I don't care about education in this country, but because I do care about education in this country. Give that $80 billion back to parents across this country who deserve to choose where they send their kids to school. It's going to take a CEO in the White House to actually get this job done. Don't start with last year's budget as the baseline and then try to massage it around the edges. No. Start with zero as the baseline. And ask what's actually necessary. Zero-based budgeting. That's how I run my businesses. That's how many CEOs run their businesses. That's how we need to run the federal government of the United States. Cancel these regulations that Congress never actually wrote into the law. Those are unconstitutional. So we can drill, frack, burn coal, embrace nuclear energy in this country. Something we haven't done in a long time. That's how we revive this economy. Stop paying people more money to stay at home instead of to go to work. That's how we revive the economy. That's how we address the mental health epidemic in this country. People my age and younger sitting in their parents' basement playing video games, smoking pot, because we're paying them more money to stay at home. We lose our sense of purpose. That's what we're missing in this country. This isn't controversial. This should be common sense. These aren't black ideas or white ideas. These aren't even really Democrat ideas or Republican ideas. These are American ideals that we fought a revolution to secure in this country. And I believe deep in my bones, those ideals still exist. I'm running for president to revive them. E pluribus unum, that's our creed. It means from many, one. That's what we've lost in this country. We've been taught to celebrate our diversity and our differences so much that we forgot all of the ways that we're really the same as Americans, bound by that common set of ideals. And here's how we're going to get it back. It's going to be by all of us. Not just me. All of us. Starting to speak the truth in the open again. Say in public what you will say in private at the dinner table. Say it with a spine. Say it with conviction. Say it with respect. But part of respect is that you respect your neighbor enough to tell him what you actually think. You see, that's what this campaign is about. Speaking the truth, not just when it's easy, but when it's hard. Speaking the truth, not just to the Democrats on the other side, but to our own side, the Republican Party right here at home when necessary too. That's what I've been doing on the debate stage. That's what I'm doing every stage of this race. It doesn't always make me a friend of the Republican establishment, but that is okay. I'm not in this to look for friends. I don't report to them. I report to you, the people of this country, not another one, the people of this country, the United States of America. There's a reason why I'm the only candidate in this race who can even touch certain issues. The CO2 pipeline that they're building across half this state, seizing the land of farmers using eminent domain who don't want that crap in their backyard. To say that I'm opposed to it, that it's unconstitutional. To say that it's based on a climate change agenda that absolutely is a hoax because it has nothing to do with the climate. To tell you that we need accountability in our own party, that Ronna McDaniel, the failed chairwoman of the RNC, needs to step aside and resign after 5 failed years of leadership. Bring accountability to our party so we can bring it to the government. To tell you that I will pardon every peaceful protester on January 6th, because that's the right thing to do for this country. One standard of the rule of law for all Americans. Why am I the only candidate who's able to say these things to you? It's because our politics is corrupt. It's because every politician, it's basically true, almost without exception at the federal level, every politician is dancing to the tune of their biggest donor. It's a fact. It's like the sun rises in the east and sets with the west. Every politician is dancing to their donor's tune. I'll tell you something. My biggest donor is me. I'm not going to be somebody's circus monkey, somebody's pawn on a chessboard. I'd rather lose this election and speak the truth than to win by playing some political snakes and ladders. I bet that's the winning strategy. I'm betting on that. It's not up to me. It's up to you. That's your choice, not mine. But that's how we're going to get our country back. If you want somebody who's going to face the deep state and actually get this job done this time, actually speak truth to power, then vote for somebody who's going to speak the truth to you. God is real. There are 2 genders. Never thought I'd have to say that one. Fossil fuels are a requirement for human prosperity. Reverse racism is racism. An open border is not a border. Parents determine the education of their children. The nuclear family isn't a bad word. It is the greatest form of governance known to mankind. Capitalism is still the best system we have to lift us up from poverty. We shouldn't apologize for it. There are 3 branches of government in the United States, not 4. Discover that. And the U.S. Constitution, it is the strongest and greatest guarantor of freedom in human history. That is the truth. We fight for the truth. We stand up for the truth. That is what won us the American Revolution. That is what reunited us after the Civil War. That is what won us 2 world wars and the Cold War. That is what still gives hope to the free world. And if we can revive that dream over group identity and victimhood and grievance, then nobody in the world, not a nation, not a corporation, not a virus, not China, is going to defeat us. That is what American exceptionalism is all about, and that is what we will revive to save this great country. Thank you for coming out tonight, guys. God bless you and your families, and may God bless our United States of America. We will not stop until we get this job done. We're going the distance until we are done, and we have revived this country. Thank you for coming tonight. Let's open this up. I want to practice what we preach. I'm going to sit across the table from Xi Jinping in about 18 months, all right? So I can handle the tough ones. Let's open this up. Give me the hard ones.
The House just recently passed Resolution 894 that says to be critical of Zionism is to be anti-Semitic. Because resolutions can pave the way for bills to be passed, do you believe House Resolution 894 could potentially pave the way for our First Amendment right to be infringed upon? Should we be able to criticize any country's government at any time without fear of being labeled anti-Semitic?
Yes. Yes. I mean, I think some candidates have trouble giving clear answers to hard questions. That's a hard question, and the answer is yes. We have to. I mean, if you lose the ability to criticize another government, then you lose the ability to criticize this one. Jack Smith, you know who that guy is? Yes, it's a problem, but he's the special prosecutor under Trump. He is in his subpoena. Has subpoenaed anybody. Some of you might be in this room for all I know. I wasn't using Twitter back then, so it didn't apply to me. But if you had liked one of Trump's tweets or retweeted him in the year 2020, you're included in that subpoena. Now look at where the Republican Party wants to take us. Some of the same Republicans that are cracking down on their own version of speech codes are saying that you need to tie your driver's license, your government-issued ID, to your social media account. I mean, I don't know if that's coming from Biden, from Haley. It doesn't matter. It's the same anti-free speech current in this country. And so my view is this. Let's just take what we're seeing on the college campuses. They're chanting death to Israel. They're chanting, I actually haven't said that, but they say intifada. Well, I think it makes no sense. I think that a lot of these college students have no idea what the heck they're talking about. I think what Hamas did to Israel was offensive. It was immoral. It was subhuman. But we're not going to beat China by being China and disbanding people's ability to express their opinions. And actually, if you just go even a layer deeper there, you watch some of those videos of those college kids. They're supposed to be chanting intifada, which is the Arab word for uprising, which generally is interpreted as being anti-Zionist. That's why I bring that up, is that's considered anti-Zionist, which then is equated with anti-Semitic. You listen to what they're saying. Many of the students, they're chanting intifada, which is like a non-word, which is to say they don't even know what the hell they're talking about, actually. Right? And that gets to the bottom root cause of what's going on. It's that they're lost. And so censorship, actually, if you want to study history, which I think every presidential candidate ought to know a little bit something about, actually, after World War I, there were speech codes in Germany. Speech codes that stopped you from speaking. That actually created a lot of the anti-Semitism that Hitler then exploited to come to power in the path to World War II and the Third Reich of Germany. In this country, I think we have a new wave of racism in this country because you're taught from the anti-racism movement to keep your thoughts to yourself. So censorship always creates this underbelly. So in the name of fighting anti-Semitism, or now anti-Zionism or whatever, you're going to create more of it. So the answer to bad speech is always more speech, not less speech. And if you tell people they cannot speak, that is when they scream. If you tell people they cannot scream, that's when they tear things down. So I want people to understand that there's two dividing lines in the Republican Party today. One of them is free speech. I think I'm the only candidate in this race that actually gives a damn about free speech in this country. That's the truth. Because everybody else, when somebody says something that disagrees with you, they'll immediately have the same shoe fit the other foot. I say no. And if we go down this path tomorrow, if you question a vaccine, they'll call you a bioterrorist. If you question the school board's curriculum, they'll call you a domestic terrorist. If you say peaceful protesters on January 6th shouldn't be locked up in prison, you're an insurrectionist terrorist. That's where this road ends. So that's dividing line number one, is free speech in this country. I'm the only actual true free speech advocate in either party in this race, actually. And the second dividing line is actually our foreign policy. There are those who believe that it's the job of the United States to be the global policeman, that we pledge allegiance to global citizenship and fighting climate change, nebulously saving the planet. My view is this: just as a father, my sole moral duty is to my family. As your next president, my sole moral duty is to you, the citizens of this country, not any other one, the citizens of the United States of America. That's my moral duty as your next president. And I think we deserve a president who has moral clarity about the Constitution, including the First Amendment, and moral clarity about his own obligations to his own nation. That's how I'm going to lead you. So thank you. I appreciate that question. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. It's a great one. Charles got some microphones in the back. Yeah, let me ask you guys a question. In the spirit of hardness, we'll bring it up here. You know, just bring it up here. I want to see if that is. You guys able to hear? It's a little echoey, but it's not too bad, right? Okay, not too bad. All right, Charles, can you fix that a little bit, or is that just? All right, that sounds good. We'll take it. So give me the voice of God. It makes me feel powerful. That's good. Thank you. They did that for me. Thank you.
Okay, so you talked about how you're going to get rid of a lot of the agencies, which I completely. Once you become president,
oh, yeah.
CIA, FBI, all of that. So my question is about the Social Security.
Oh, good. Good.
So, as a young female with stage 4 metastatic cancer, SSA has decided.
That's you. You're talking about.
Me.
You look healthy. Well, I'm glad
Thank
you're.
you. I feel great.
Okay.
And actually, it's a blessing. But they decided, not me, to kick me off.
Huh.
That I didn't need it. But
Who decided?
SSA.
Kicked you off of
disability.
Of disability. Oh, because you used to work there.
No.
Just off disability.
Off disability insurance.
Oh, really? Off disability. How did they decide that?
That's a question.
Yeah.
But on the reverse, a truly disabled son whose parents work both full-time jobs, the government says, you have to take our insurance, Medicare. You cannot go on your private insurance. So there's a big double standard.
It doesn't
there.
make any sense.
So what are you going to do with the Social Security Administration so people like me don't have issues in the future, and for people that are truly have disabilities, where they don't have to rely on the government?
Sure. And this is, if I may broaden the question, it leads to a broader arbitrariness in both CMS, that's the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and the SSA. And one other example of this is the different treatment a lot of elder Americans face this of dental conditions versus ocular conditions for your eye versus other parts of your health. Complicated myriad rules depending on whether you're covered or not. It doesn't make any sense. And so this is the problem with the administrative state. It's not like Congress actually passed these laws, because if they did, these are idiotic, you'd vote them out. But you can't do that when those rules are written by these permanent state bureaucrats. So my view is, in all likelihood, all of those rules are unconstitutional as they exist today. And they need to be actually pushed to Congress, that we actually hold them accountable to say, here's one standard. And we wouldn't have all of these separations between dental versus vision versus health versus one standard they apply to a son who has certain issues that might be covered by disability or mandated to be versus other ones to say that I don't know as much about your condition, but stage 4 cancer, but then to be kicked off disability, it's senseless. It's what in the law you call arbitrary and capricious. That's a meaning in the law. And if the administrative state is doing something that's arbitrary and capricious, by definition, that means it's unlawful. And most of what they're doing today on my watch absolutely fits that description. So we need one standard. And when I talk about one standard of the rule of law, I don't just mean criminal law. One standard of the rules as they apply. And the deadweight cost of interpreting that, I think, is part of what's holding our economy back. It's holding back our self-confidence. People are uncertain about what risks they can and cannot take without clear rules of the road. You deserve that as a citizen of this country. And it's my responsibility as the president running the executive branch. See, stuff with Congress I'm not going to promise, but the executive branch, we deserve that level of clarity. That's what we need in this country. And whether it's through the SSA or whether it's through the Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, that Byzantine set of rules, we're bringing a jackhammer for clarity. one standard of the rules for everybody. That's what I would say. Thank you very much to your question. We'll go go to back there, and then we'll come up here.
Thank you for taking questions again. I think we all have a good sense of our home and our security within our home, and when we shut the door, that's it. People don't come in.
Yeah.
In our country, it's not that way. It doesn't seem something's gone completely off the wires here, and it's not working well for us as far as having security in our country. And you've probably seen the report, and I guess I don't know how true it is, but the GOP issued a report November 17th or something like that, of like $500 billion in spending to the mechanics of
Yep.
this illegal immigration. Is that a William Clay report, or are those accurate figures? I think they just added up everything that they found as an extra expense for this, but I've not heard anything about that report other than the initial release of it. It's like, that's such a $500 billion,
It's just
$452 billion, I think it was.
a couple drops in the bucket there. Yeah.
But that money doesn't come from
No.
nowhere.
Oh, of course, it comes from us.
I think we're spending money on that we should be spending here for our bridges and all this.
Oh, absolutely.
So can you kind of speak to that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to get to a root cause here, because I think we're missing. I mean, it was the correct analogy. I love talking about taking your back door and locking it and closing the door. I think what's going on at the southern border is not one of those situations where you left the back door closed, but you forgot to lock it, or even that you left it open. It's that you just broke down the entire back wall and said a "come on inside." And I think this is something you're not supposed to say, because it's considered a conspiracy theory if you say it coming from the right. But 10 years ago, if you said it coming from the Democrat Party, it was just a statement of your political strategy, which is to change the composition of the U.S. electorate to ensure lasting electoral majorities. Some people refer to this as the Great Replacement Theory, but if you say that, that makes people go psychotic and lose their mind. So don't use the word. Just describe them what their strategy was. Is how do Democrats, you go back about 10 years ago, you listen to what Joe Biden, to Mayorkas by his side, to you have any other range of Democratic leaders, Stacey Abrams on down, political writers, say this is the Democratic Party's path to lasting electoral majorities, change the composition of the electorate. And that's what they've done. With about 8 million plus, I mean, the numbers are unknown, of illegal migrants, many of whom are here illegally, most of whom are here illegally, many of whom find their way to voting in elections. That's what this is about. So if we approach it one way to say, how can we be this incompetent? And let's figure out what technical solutions and how much money we can save and how we can use aquatic barriers in the Rio Grande, which work. Right? There's another report that found that the aquatic barriers they put in the river, those are some of the most cost-effective methods of actually stopping crossing the Rio Grande. And so we innocently are going to be here saying, oh yeah, but like, those are things we can do. Why aren't we doing them? Let's go fix the problem. That's too sincere. It's too earnest, because we're missing the point. They're not failing to use the aquatic barriers, which are cheap, would bring those costs down dramatically. They're not using them because they don't know they don't work. They're not using them because they know they do work, actually. So that's what we got to understand. So you want to fix the border crisis, I'll just lay out for you exactly how I'm going to do it. I'm going to go from south to north, and south starts south of our own border. Stop giving our own taxpayer money to any Central American nation or to Mexico as foreign aid. End that, and require that they each build their own border walls from every country between Venezuela all the way to the southern border of Texas. That stops the massive flow, because most of the people coming into this country aren't even Mexican through the southern border. They're coming from countries south of Mexico. That stops that. Now, our own southern border, use aquatic barriers, finish the completion of the wall, and then I will move our own military, here's a radical idea here for you guys, our own military to protect not somebody else's border halfway around the world, but our own border. Move them to the southern border and the northern border too. So with that, we've got the border sealed. Now we get to the best border policies of all. End the incentives to be here illegally in the first place. Stop using our money. And don't say the government dollars, because then we lose our sense whose money that is. Our money, stop using it to pay sanctuary cities to be sanctuary cities. That's what's happening to pay for the breakage of the rule of law. End it. And then I'm going to go further than the Republican Party here. They get a little uncomfortable when I say this, but it's actually no reason to be. It's what the Constitution says. End birthright citizenship for the kids of illegals in this country. It does not apply to them. They duped Donald Trump on this. They said, oh, you can't do that without a constitutional amendment. I promise you it helps to have a president who understands the Constitution, because then you can't be duped. The opening words of the 14th Amendment, what does it say? All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, those are the key words, shall be citizens. That means the kid of a Mexican diplomat who's here legally, that kid does not enjoy birthright citizenship. That's not controversial. Nobody thinks that he does. Well, if the kid of a Mexican diplomat who's here legally does not enjoy birthright citizenship, then surely the kid of a Mexican or Venezuelan migrant who's here illegally does not enjoy birthright citizenship either. So I don't need Congress and I don't need a constitutional amendment. We already have what we need. It's the Constitution. I will swear an oath to it and I will keep it. January 20th, 2025, going forward, if I'm your president, the kids of illegal migrants will not enjoy birthright citizenship in this country. Now we've ended the incentives for that mass migration. And then let's get to the hard question that nobody likes to talk about. But let's address it head on. What will we do for the millions, and it is many millions, of illegals who are in this country already? Sometimes I get my moral clarity from my role as a parent, even in the White House. If I'm the father of 2 sons in the White House, as I hope we will be in about 2 years, how could I look them in the eye and tell them they have to follow the rules if the government that I'm leading isn't following its own rules? I can't do that. Anybody who's in this country illegally will be returned to their country of origin, period, without exception. How are we going to do that? That's the question they run into. Again, they duped Trump. They duped other presidents on this. They say there's only 6,000 ICE agents, Immigration and Customs Enforcement agents. It's true, on the front lines. There's millions in this country illegally. Answer. Existing law. We don't need new laws. The existing laws, it's a section called 287G. It allows ICE to have the warrants served by local law enforcement. All you need is a president who instructs ICE to do it, ICE who ultimately allows local law enforcement to do it. Now you have 1 million law enforcement officers, and yes, we can get that job done. The country that put a man on the moon can do this much. That's how we solve our border crisis and our illegal mass migration crisis once and for all in this country. But it takes a president with a spine. It takes a president who's willing to take a jackhammer to that bureaucracy. And most importantly of all, it takes a president who knows and understands the Constitution, swears an oath to it, and can keep that oath. And those things don't usually, even in the Republican Party, right? We're talking about this. They don't usually go together in the same person. I'm not being boastful or anything else. We don't have a lot of time as a country right now. If we don't get this right in the next few years, I don't think we have a country left. So we don't have time to dither around. I'm just going to be frank with you. Those two things don't usually go together. You might have the business type who's going to have sharp elbows and break things. You might have the legal academic who's going to know what this says and what the theories are, but can't actually get this seen through. We need a president now who has both of those things. That's why I'm in this race. I didn't expect to be running for president 1.5 years ago. I don't particularly covet the office. I promise you that. And there's better ways to have 3-year-old and a 1.5-year-old, and we've lived the American dream. There's better ways to do this for us. This isn't about us. I think that's what this country requires. And my faith teaches me that God puts each of us here for a purpose. That every one of us, each of us has our own unique God-given gifts. They're not the same. We each have our different God-given gifts, but it's our duty, our moral duty, to use those gifts to do what's right in the short time that we're given. So yes, that's why I'm in this race. That's why I think we're going to be successful and revive this country. And I think that's the level of conviction you're going to need, because the opposition you're going to get to everything I told you is going to be immense. But you need to be grounded in the Constitution and your own deep, personal, spiritually grounded convictions, I believe, to actually have the fortitude to see this through. That's the answer to your question. Thank you. I appreciate that. And I guess I brought it up there. Is that something you guys would be interested in hearing about a little bit more about my faith? Is that of interest to you here? Sometimes people ask one-on-one afterwards, and then I think we can talk about it in the open. I'm Hindu, which is different than the traditional faith background of most people who have run for U.S. president. I can tell you that we share the same value set in common. The heart of my faith is actually what I shared with you. God puts us here for a purpose. It's our duty to realize that purpose. God works through us in different ways, but we're still equal because God resides in each of us. That's the heart of my faith. Now, I was educated in Christian schools. I went to St. Xavier High School in Cincinnati. And I was in 9th grade when we read the Bible for the first time. Got to the 10 Commandments pretty early on. And it reminded me, I'll tell you what my parents raised us in was a pretty traditional background. Not a very traditional background is what I would say. I mean, they taught us family's the foundation. Marriage is sacred. What they taught us is it's between a man and a woman. That adultery is wrong, that abstinence before marriage is the way to go, that the good things in life involve a sacrifice. It's not just about this life, it's about the eternal life. So anyway, we get to 9th grade and we read the 10 Commandments for the first time, and what do they say? It's not fashionable to talk about the 10 Commandments today. I think it's a good thing for us to be able to talk about it. There's one true God. Don't take his name in vain. Observe the Sabbath. Honor your parents. Don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't commit adultery, don't covet, don't kill. It didn't feel like I was reading these values for the first time, and I do think these are the values that the nation was founded on. John Adams said our Constitution was made for a moral people. And so many people have asked me through this process, and they're thinking through, how do we feel about having a Hindu president? And that's a fair question to ask. I'll tell you this is, I wouldn't be the best person to be the pastor spreading Christianity through the country. And I don't think that's the job of the president. But will I stand for those shared values that this country was founded on? The Judeo-Christian values this nation was founded on? You're darn right I will. Will I swear an oath to that Constitution and keep it, including the First Amendment, which gives us not only free speech, but also free exercise of religion, our religious liberty, which has experienced an assault in this country? Absolutely I will. That's my duty. And I think especially as somebody who is a little different in a lot of ways. I'm the youngest person ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. I'm 38. It's going to take somebody who has a slightly different background, kid of immigrants who came to this country, who's lived the American dream. I know it exists because I've lived it. We live in a religiously pluralistic country, and we want people of every religion to stand for those shared values with pride as Americans. Can I reach that and revive that and make faith and family and patriotism and hard work cool again in the next generation? I think I can, actually. And I think that's my obligation as your next president. And I just wanted to share with you because my faith is important to me. That's what guides me to this journey. It's what gives me my freedom, and I hope that will be an aid to me in serving as an effective president if you all put me there. So thank you for that. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate it. Thank you. Yes, right there. Yeah. And then we'll give you the final word, sir, right after that.
Thank you for being here and taking our questions.
This is fun for me.
We're sick of geriatric politicians that hide in their basements.
Thank you.
My question is about qualified immunity, and I know you speak a lot about treating the swamps and cleaning up Washington, and to me that's such an important part of the equation.
Yep.
Would you support or even promote legislation that tackles that doctrine of qualified immunity?
Yeah, I would. And this is, I mean, I love the kind of advanced questions we get from, only in Iowa. I love it. It's good. So just so everybody's on the same page. So qualified immunity basically refers to the idea that if you're a government actor, you can't be sued in the same way that you would be if you were a company. Like actually, let's just make a real example, right? Let's say you were wrong, but the individual who might have made a wrong decision, you can't sue them as an individual because they're an agent of the government. It's very hard to sue the government. It's a complicated whole branch of law in its own right. So the short answer to your question is yes, but there's one thing that makes it difficult. I've got to be frank. The Constitution actually has some elements of qualified immunity built in, which makes legislation alone a little bit more challenging. But I'm skeptical of the use of this. Now, what's happening now, the irony is that we have the worst of all worlds, where the people who I don't think need that level of qualified immunity are the ones who actually have claimed it for themselves, like prosecutors. And the people who actually, let's just take in the law enforcement area, the people who they're stripping it away from are actually local cops on the front lines. So if you want to apply the same standards, fine, apply it to everybody. But right now, local cops, they're not able to do their job for fear of being sued, looking over their shoulder, being second-guessed based on some spliced body cam footage or otherwise. They're rolling that back, and that's why we have a recruitment crisis of cops on the streets. But the back office bureaucrats in the federal government are the ones that have actually been really effective at knowing how to claim this for themselves. And so I would support legislative rollbacks to qualified immunity for anybody who's in a non-frontline police officer position. And I think it's a separate conversation for police officers, but outside of that, we're on the same side of this issue. It allows them to hide behind that shield, and that's one more toolkit of accountability. Something that we're missing today. We, the people, create a government that is accountable to us, not the other way around. That's the beauty of this country, actually. And I want to say a word about this. The ideals enshrined in that Constitution, these are not moderate ideals. See, people think, how are we going to unite this country? People ask me with your, let's say I'm having a conversation with CNN. With your extreme rhetoric, Mr. Ramaswamy, how could you unite this country? Look, let's admit something. This country is founded on extreme ideals. The idea that you get to speak your mind as long as I get to in return. That's the very first question you asked. That you get to criticize any other government and our own government. That's a radical idea. Right? It's a wild idea. For most of human history, it was done the other way. Old world Europe, they'd be laughing at us. The idea that we, the people, settle our differences at the ballot box, where every citizen gets a vote. That's a wild idea. That's what makes America great. That's what makes America itself. And so that's how we're going to unite this country, not by moderating on our principles and showing up at the 50-yard line and holding hands and compromising and singing Kumbaya and somehow believing that unites this country. That's fake. That's not real unity. The way we will unite this country is by embracing the radicalism of those American ideals. Right? We're taught to believe our diversity is our strength. I disagree with that. Our strength is what unites us across that diversity. Without that, think about that. We'll look around this room. We have a number of different shades of melanin. I brought one of them. You're welcome. A couple different genders. 2 of them, to be precise, actually, in this room. And that's fine. And we're diverse. That's great. So what? Unless there's something greater that unites us across our diversity. That's what makes it beautiful. Without that, we're really just a bunch of different looking higher mammals with 2 legs, a bunch of different skin colors, walking some geographic space that we call a country, doing what our iPhones told us to do on a given day. That's what America looks like to me at times. The aimless passage of time. No, there's more to this than the aimless passage of time. We're here for a purpose. This is a country that gives us that sense of purpose. It's not just a place. It is a vision of what that place can be. That's what makes America great. And so, yes, we have to embrace those founding ideals. And once we revive that, that's the key to reviving our country. And so with that, I promised you the last word. Tell me your name.
I'm Samuel Anson.
Good to meet you.
Good to meet you. So, Mr.
Ramaswamy.
Ramaswamy.
You got it.
I just want to say thank you very much for being here. It's an honor.
Thank you.
To have you here. Whenever I was in seminary, I used to room with an Indian roommate, and his name was Timna. And so every time I go to bed, he always say, correct me if I'm wrong, he always say, Shabak Sandhya?
I know what you're referring to, yeah. Close.
Did I say it right?
Close, yeah.
Good evening?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Thank you. So first of all, I have two questions. Do you mind if I share these?
Sure.
Okay, so my first question is, I was looking on this pamphlet right here.
Yep.
And one of the things that obviously stuck out to me was reverse racism. Is racism. And so my question to that is, I've always thought too that, although I agree with that, I've always thought too that prejudice and discrimination are inherently tied to, historically rooted and entrenched institutionalized forms of systemic racism, and hierarchies and injustice and power imbalance. And so my question here is, if you believe in this kind of power structures that have existed and continues to exist, how might you go about reconciling these structures?
Thank you. And did you have a second question too?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The second question is, I'm a pastor, and as a pastor, just as America needs saving, I think pastors also need saving, and part of that starts with fitness. I saw you on Instagram with Logan Paul.
Yeah.
You guys were doing push-ups.
Yeah, that's right.
You did it for boxer.
Yeah.
So would you mind doing 10 push-ups for a pastor?
That's right. You got that. Right. You want to start with that? Let's start with that. Come here. Count them out, buddy. Let's go. Ready? Ready, go. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
1,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
There you go. That's good. I didn't even get my workout today. That's good. I'm proud of you. That's good. Thank you, man. That's a favor to me. I like that. Did my wife call you beforehand and tell you she planted that one, didn't she? She said, I'm not exercising enough on the campaign trail. She's looking out for me. That's good, man. What's your name?
I'm Samuel Anson.
Samuel? Yeah. Samuel? Okay, good to meet you. So I want to address the first question. I think it's great. I think we, as I said in the beginning, we don't have these kinds of open conversations anymore in this country. And so the heart of the question, let me summarize it as, reverse racism is racism. You agree with me on one hand, but on the other hand, how does that account for historical injustices in this country, including power structures that may be based on inequalities grounded in race? It's the heart of the question? Yeah, fair. Thank you. So here's my view on this. Have we been perfect through our national history? Absolutely not. Right? I mean, we had slavery for 160 years. There was a civil war fought over it. Some people learned that later in life than others. But that's okay. But, that's history, right? It's American history. And so the question is, what do we do about it now? So I'll give you my honest, sort of candid feelings about where we are. Was there a time and place for correcting for those past injustices? Yeah, I think it was like in 1870. And did we do a perfect job of it? No, we didn't. But at a certain point in time, I think that what you would think of as racism in this country, or you could fill in the blank, sexism, or any other ism or form of discrimination, it gets to be small enough, not to be zero, but small enough, that the best thing we can do is let it atrophy to irrelevance. And if otherwise you try to attack it, it's like an immune system. My background's in biology, so sometimes I think in these kinds of analogies. But it's like an immune system trying to fight a virus. Long after the virus is gone, or almost gone even, it starts to just attack its own organs. That's what I see happening in the country. And so here's my view, to make that kind of abstract reflection a little simpler. Today, the best way to stop discrimination on the basis of race is to stop discriminating on the basis of race. That's what I believe. And I think that in the name of anti-racism, which is a movement that calls out for us to be more race conscious of the differences, to correct for them. I think we've actually created more racism in this country. And it's sad because, so I've started businesses, of multiple different businesses this campaign. It turns out I've hired people of every combination you could probably not every combination, but most combinations you could imagine of race and gender and this or that or the other thing. In one case, it was a black woman who was in a senior position of authority. One of the well-compensated, high position of authority. A lot of people would be jealous of that position and want it. And I heard, right, somebody who's upset she's above the hierarchy. She just got her job because she's a black woman. She's checking a box. And that hurt me, not because I took it as an insult, because I don't hire people that way. But it hurts me to say that's unfair to her. It's not fair to anybody. It's not just to anybody. To stand for a system where we see each other as called upon to see each other on the basis of the color of our skin. And so at a certain point, the right answer is, I think, we have to move forward. If we drive with our eyes in the rearview mirror, we're just going to keep crashing the same car and recreating the very thing we wanted it to eradicate. So that's what I believe. And that's why I'm against, what you'll call, what does that refer to, reverse racism, like affirmative action, right? Quota systems, direct or indirect. I'm against them because I think they're inherently divisive. They're anti-meritocratic. I think they're anti-American at their core. And so you will never, it's kind of like, in a philosophical sense, like the answer to the first question. We're never going to defeat the people who disagree with us by censoring them, by using the tools of the opposition against them. So I say that in the category of speech. Well, we Republicans have been censored, and we have. Conservative speech has been censored, so we're going to come back and censor you. We're never going to win that way because you lose the very thing we're fighting for. So it's the same thing. Well, we experienced racism. Now we're going to get racism in reverse. We never win by using the toolkits of the other side. And you're on a higher pay grade than me as a pastor. I'm just running to be president, but you're operating on a different plane. But I think that it's something that you might think of as mercy. At a certain level, what is our path forward as a country? At some point is going to have to, at some point in time. I mean, there's a time for justice and there's a time for mercy. And those two things are in tension with one another, right? And I think at this moment we live in, I got a question yesterday. Somebody asked me a question. He said, what was the cause of the Civil War? And do you think that there's a civil war in this country right now? I think we are skating on thin ice as a country right now. I think we are in the middle of a cold cultural civil war right now. I don't want to see it turn hot. But I think it's going to require a combination of both justice, accountability for those who have committed those wrongs, with a blindfold of justice, but also some level of saying we will move on as a country. And so that's what I believe. And so hopefully that addresses your question for how I think about it. Not denying past inequity, but by acknowledging that at a certain point we're going to do about as well as we could, and then we decide the best thing for all of us is to aspire to our ideals. And this is what makes America beautiful. Are we a perfect nation? No, we are not. We never have been, and we never will be. Because here's why. I can tell you why it will never be the case. There's two things that are true about us. We're human beings, we're not gods. And we're still a nation that has ideals. See, it's interesting how nobody calls China hypocritical, or Iran, or Pakistan, or anywhere else. You don't hear the allegations of those nations being hypocritical. To be hypocritical, you had to have ideals in the first place. So as a nation that has ideals and a nation that's comprised of human beings, we will always fall short of those ideals. But we're founded on the pursuit of a more perfect union. The pursuit of liberty, equality, and justice for all. That is what makes America great. That is what makes America itself. And so yes, I am an America First conservative. Staunch. Means two things. The people we elect to run the government, and the moral duty they owe is to the citizens of this nation, not any other one. Yes, I'm an America First conservative, but we have to now answer what America is. we're lost. And I think we require a president. Half the job of the next president isn't just the policies. We had some great questions on policy, but it's not just the policies. Half the job of our next U.S. president is to revive our national character, to answer who we are, actually, as Americans. That's how we win. Dilute the poison to irrelevance. Wokeism, transgenderism, climatism, COVIDism, Zelenskyism, anti-Semitism, racism, depression, fentanyl, anxiety, suicide. These are all symptoms of a deeper void of purpose and meaning in our country. And the way we're going to win is what I can do. We each have a job to play. What I can do is revive our national identity. Fill that void of national identity by answering who we are as Americans. I'm not going to do this alone. I need to get the government out of your way so pastors across this country can do their job too. If there's a hole the size of God in your heart and God does not fill it, something else will instead, as the old saying goes. And so we each have a role to play. And unlike in the spiritual realm, it's not going to be some political messiah coming down from the White House to save all of us. If we're going to be saved, it's going to be because we save ourselves. So I'm going to do my part. I'm not letting you all off the hook. As parents, as pastors, as teachers, every one of you has your role to play as well. But if you all do your part, I promise you, my wife and I and our family, we're going to do ours to make sure that we don't have to be this nation in decline anymore. We don't have to be at the end of the ancient Roman Empire, as we're taught to believe. I think as a nation right now, we're really just a little young, actually. Going through our own version of our adolescence. Figuring out who we're going to be when we grow up. And when you view it that way, it makes sense again. You go through your adolescence, you go through that identity crisis. You lose your way a little bit. You do some stupid things at times. But we are stronger for it when we get to our adulthood on the other side. So no, I don't think we have to be that nation in decline. I think this is the last time I might be able to tell you guys this. I don't think I could tell you this 4 years or 8 years from now. But I can tell it to you today. I think we still can be a nation in our ascent. Maybe even the early stages of our ascent. Maybe we're not even at base camp. On our way still to that shining city on a hill. That country where we will look our kids in the eye and tell them, at least now, no matter who you are, or where your parents came from, or what your skin color is, or how long your last name is in some of our cases, right? That you will get ahead in this country with your own hard work, your own commitment, your own dedication. And that you know what? You are free to speak your mind at every step of the way. That is the American dream. That is what we are running to. And with your help, that's what we're going to revive to save this country. I'm here to ask you for your help. The system isn't made for a guy like me to do this. I promise you that. 38-year-old coming in from the outside, saying the things you're not supposed to say, even in our own party. The system isn't made for this, but that's okay. They don't get to decide. It belongs to you. We can do this. I think we're going to do this because Iowa goes first. Every one of your voices and votes at that Iowa caucus, it's like the equivalent of 1 million people in the impact that it has on the actual election. So I'm asking you to take 30 minutes of your time to save this country. on January 15th. I'm asking you for a little more than that. For all the people in this community, in Indianola and otherwise, and for those of you who know them across the state. I think there's people across the state here tonight. 10 people in your community who couldn't be here tonight. Tell them what we talked about too. Bring them too on the Iowa caucus on January 15th. And if you guys do your part, I promise you, my family and I, we will do ours. We will stop at nothing to make sure, not in some fake politician way, but in a true way, make sure that our country's best days can actually still be ahead of us. Thank you for coming today, guys. God bless you and your families, and may God bless our United States of America. Thank you. Thank you, Esther.
We're doing a photo line.
Thank you. Let's do it. Thank you. Thank you.
This is our moment on January 15th, with everyone in this room's help.
Thank you.
This is the next president of the United States of America. Thank you.
I'm hooked now.
Thank you. Thank you. I love your shirt.
I'm a Trumper now. I'm a Vivek.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're in this for the country. We're taking this to the next level. And we'll respect his legacy, but we're going to go this to the next level.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
You want to come get a picture? You can come on.
Take a picture and
Take a picture?
One of the smartest individuals I've ever listened to.
don't forget to fill out
Being here,
your
brother.
service card.
Thank you. What's your name,
Don't
brother?
give up.
We're not going to give up. We're not
Michael
going to stop
O'Mara.
till we're done. Michael what?
O'Mara.
Michael O'Mara. Thank you.
job.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, man. Thank you. Yeah. Come on in. We'll get a quick one with the young
Can you
man.
please come to the front?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You got my vote.
Thank you, brother.
Yeah.
And bring other young people for me too, all right? Proud of you for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Hey. Hey, thanks for being here. Great first question. I like that. If we don't have free speech,
Yes.
if the government starts stopping us from saying what we can say, then it's the ball game. Thank you for being here.
No, you got it. We're precinct captains.
Oh, you
for
are?
it.
I'm awesome. Thank you, guys.
1, 2, 3.
That's how we're doing this. Grassroots, bottom up. So you keep
Exactly.
spreading that
Thank you
message,
so much.
we're going to do it. Thank you, guys. Hey, how you doing?
Good.
You feel like you're... What,
Yeah,
if you don't mind my asking, what type of cancer?
So I have stage 4 breast cancer.
Okay.
Was diagnosed. This is my sister.
Oh, hey, thank you for being here. Good to see you.
I actually live in California. But I
Both
flew,
of you?
No, I'm just.
Oh, you're visiting? Oh, okay, got it.
But I wanted to come out and see you, and
Thank you.
I dragged her out because
I appreciate you coming then, too.
what can someone in California do to help the cause?
I appreciate
I
that.
think what you're doing is amazing.
I appreciate that. To be super frank, in the near term, if you could even make phone calls for us to the people in Iowa.
Okay.
It's actually, if we win Iowa, I'm the next president. And I think
You
we can
are?
win Iowa.
Absolutely.
And I think we're going to win Iowa with your
Well,
help.
good luck.
And
Thank you.
if you can help bring as many people out here, I appreciate that. Thank you. If you sign up with us, that'd be awesome.
will. Thanks.
She could volunteer with us, even though she's in California. She wants to volunteer. Thank you. But she wants to help. Hey, good to see you again, man. Glad you're here.
All right.
Thank you. She can make phone calls for us, she said. So thank you. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, man.
Hey, thank you very much.
I really enjoyed that, man. Thank you.
1, 2, 3.
You're my thoughts.
Thank you, man. Pray for our family if you're inclined.
Yes,
We
sir.
would appreciate it.
I will.
Do you live here?
I live in Hayward in Iowa.
Okay. Hey, if you could spread the message in Hayward, too. Have you done the Iowa caucus before?
No, I have not yet.
You have to do it this time.
Yes, sir.
It's a must.
I
It's a
will.
must. That's what I asked. Thank you.
Yes, I got
Thank
you.
you, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, good to see you, man. What's your
I'm coming back up here because this is my husband.
Oh, this is your husband.
So
Oh, God, let's take this.
I'm
This is
gonna-
great. That's great. Thank you.
The American flag in that one.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome.
I
Thank you
appreciate
very much.
Thank you so much, guys. Hey, what's your name? Oh, you are. Thank you for being here, guys. You're visiting?
Yeah, we're
Oh,
visiting
thank
from
you.
Utah.
Thank you. You have family here?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're visiting for Christmas.
Are they here?
Yeah, this is my
Oh,
mom.
that's
My
nice. That's
mother-in-law,
nice.
Haley.
Amazing. Thank you.
got a lot
You live in
of
Iowa?
Yes, I
Thank you,
do.
guys. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you. If you spread the message here and January 15th. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming, you guys.
Thank you. Hey, good to see you.
Good to see you.
What's your name?
Jeannie.
Jeannie. Good to see you, Jeannie.
And please
you.
let your wife know that surgeons
good surgeons are worth their weight in gold. We appreciate that too.
I appreciate that. She's excellent at what she does.
Good.
So.
I worked in healthcare for 42 years.
You did? Okay.
Yes, and I'll tell you, a good doctor of any kind is worth
She's going to continue that while we're in the White House. That's our plan.
Excellent.
So, thank you. I appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank
Spread the message for us. Thank you very much.
Hey, Vivek.
Thank you. Good to see you, man. Good to see you, man.
Came from California today. I've been observing you.
Do you live here?
No.
You do? Thank you for coming out. Thank you for spread the word. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming.
Hey, how are
Thank
you?
you. Hey, good to see you. Hey, thank you for being here, guys. You old enough to vote?
Yes.
All right. Well, come on out then. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Howdy.
Good to see you guys. How you doing, man?
Good, and you?
Good to see you, brother.
That guy was
You guys did a good job. That guy was good. Yeah, he was
Awesome
a good
it
competition.
was nice meeting you.
Hey, you guys come out and bring other people in your generation out
that's what my
to that
friend-
caucus.
my
That's what we
friend,
need.
He's from Iowa also. He kind of introduced me to you. I'm like,
Awesome.
I'm also looking to do some research on you. And
Bring a bunch of people January 15th.
following you on social media. I'm like, I really like you.
I love that. I love that. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Hey, good to see you again, guys. Thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for bringing the... Thank you. Hey, good to see you again. How are you? You brought the whole family this time. Good to see you. How are you?
We went to the Faith and Prayer
Hey, good to see
thing,
you.
and then
Oh,
we
you
came
did?
down. So this is my
Oh,
husband,
thank you.
Brad.
Hey, good to see you.
He's a veteran. This is my
Good to see you.
daughter.
Good to see you. How you been?
Good.
We met last time as well.
I wasn't able to make it.
Oh,
I
you
was
didn't?
on
Okay.
the hoodlums here.
Oh, you were handling hoodlums. We met last time.
Hey, look at the camera, baby.
Remind me, what kind of doctor are you?
Neurology.
Neurology.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
keep-
want to help your wife
keep
out
a
with
good one.
whatever's going on. I've got a group of doctor women that are
Okay.
behind the scenes.
I appreciate
They're
that.
for America, so
Thank you.
Tell her we're praying for
Thank
her.
you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Good seeing. Thank you for coming out this time. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
County ideas getting rid of ESG from all of our companies.
Oh yeah, I mean that's been my mission for the last 3 years.
Yeah.
And we've succeeded at some of it actually. Good
I
to
work
see.
for
you.
Wells Fargo, and it's
Oh,
kind
you
of
do.
destroying
That's
it.
kind of yeah. See, it's like a form of greenwashing, where they had their thing that happened a few years ago.
Right.
And now they're flogging themselves wearing a hair shirt,
Right.
ruining the company.
Right.
But anyway,
Yeah, it is ruining.
It totally it is.
27
It
years
is.
there, and it's terrible now.
Well,
so.
we got your back, man.
All right, thanks.
Spread the
Appreciate
message.
it.
Where do you live?
Down in New Virginia.
Down
In Iowa.
south of here?
Yeah, just
Okay.
half hour from here.
Spread the word down there for me, okay?
do.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you. Hey, good to see you. What's your name, brother?
I'm Josh.
Josh?
Nice to meet you,
What's your, Kara, good to see you here.
Kara.
Guys, good to meet you. Is your family? Oh, good to see you guys. Yeah, come on in, guys.
Friends, excited to
Oh,
meet
good.
you.
Thank you for being here, guys. Thank you. Well, I appreciate it if you come out on the
Thank you.
15th and spread the message, all right?
We'll be there.
Thank you, guys. That means a lot to me, man. And that's how we're going to win, because most of our supporters, they're not polled. People like you who haven't caucused before. We're going to shock the world on the 15th. So I appreciate it. Thank you, guys. Take care. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Thank you, man. Hey.
It's an honor to meet you.
Good to see you. Thank you, man. I
Hey,
appreciate it.
We've been supporting you financially since October. I didn't even
Thank
know
you,
who
brother.
you were in that. Pray for you regularly, and I look up to you.
Oh, that's kind
I've
of you,
never
my man.
caucused before.
That means a lot
I've
to me. We
never
take that
caucused, man.
responsibility seriously. Are you expecting soon?
Yes,
Very
very soon.
soon? Oh, we'll pray for you too.
Thanks.
Is it your first one?
Yeah.
Oh
well,
my.
This is our first.
Your first one
yeah.
together. Good for you. Good for you. That's so exciting, guys. Spread the message, and
Yeah.
we're going to do our part.
Absolutely.
I'm excited for you. Any day, huh?
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, that'll be a real sacrifice to come to the caucus
Yeah, I know, I'm like,
in the middle of that. But if you're able to, yeah. Thank you, guys.
Cool.
I
Thank you.
wish you all the best, guys. Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Good to see you,
I've seen
man.
you on Crowder and on Timcast.
Oh, nice.
That's
Good to
how
see you,
that's
brother.
how I met you.
Good to see
Can I
you.
get you to make a pose? Like, what would you say was your signature pose? So when Carrie Lake was here, she did the Rizzy to Roviter. So.
Let's do this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you,
man. Good to see
Thank
you.
you so much.
Where do you
Thanks
live?
for coming out. I live out in Waterloo.
Awesome, man.
But when you guys are going to be in Grundy, I'm going to be DJing, so I won't. Be
Oh
able to
no!
make
Okay,
it,
well you're here
so-
today. So
Yeah.
spread the message out there and come
Yes,
out. You
that's
come
what
to
I'm
you'll come to the
definitely
caucus, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be voting for you in the
Amazing.
primary.
Amazing. Bring a bunch of people out.
Yes.
Good to see you, brother.
Woody Fogel.
Thank you. What's your name,
Nice
sir?
to meet you. Woody Fogel.
Woody. Woody
Yeah.
Fogel. Good
My
to see you.
wife, Peggy.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, guys.
We're glad you're close.
Thank you.
And your comments about the police department were straight on.
Thank you. Yeah, we need to actually let them do their
worked
jobs.
there.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Thank you for your service. I appreciate that.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you. We're going to get the job done. With your help, we'll do it. We'll stand for the people who do the job. Back our police officers.
You don't have the baggage like, well, I'm a retired police officer.
Thank you. Well, we'll thank you for your service, and we're going to help the guys who are in your shoes.
Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Hey.
How we doing, brother?
Thank you, man. Good to see you, brother.
Absolutely.
Good to see you.
Good talk. Good
How you
talk.
doing?
This is my wife, Sarah.
Good to see you, Sarah. Thank you for being here. Thanks. Great space. Really love this.
Hope it worked out great.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah. It's an awesome space. Beautiful Christmas trees, too, inside.
Yes,
It's a very
that-
warm.
Yes, she actually left already.
Has a
Yes,
very
the
warm.
decorator, wonderful.
Real warmth to this place. So
Yes.
thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I
Hopefully we
appreciate
get you
it.
back again.
We'd love to. Yeah. Just, if you spread the message in this community, I'd be grateful.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good
Take
one.
care, guys. Thank you. All the best. Thank you. All right. Rock and roll. Thank you. Hey.
So I just want to let you know.
Thank you.
So since I was kicked off about a year ago,
Yeah.
I've had to work 3 jobs, about 80 hours a week, to keep a roof over my kid's head. So I'm a single mom of 6, divorced
Of 6.
of 6. Just
Dealing
keep
with
a
stage
roof over their
4.
head. To not even be able to see them. People like me need help.
Yeah. People like you are
Fortunately.
heroes for your kids too, and we're not doing. Our country's not doing for you what you're doing for our country by raising those 6 kids and having to go through what you're going through.
They're going to be good citizens. They are good citizens.
Yeah.
But it's a struggle. And we need to change in the country, so it's not.
We owe that to you. You have my word on that. We're going to do our part.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, and thank you for being here
Yeah,
all the way
my
from
support.
California too. Thank you. It means a lot to me.
And see,
We'll pray for your recovery.
I just want to add to what she's saying. There's the story that she told you about the family I have a child who is on disability, and he needs to be on disability, but I am forced.
I know. It's the
It's
mirror image opposite.
It's BS, and it's like I don't need it. We have.
It's a system that's it's arbitrary and capricious.
Yes,
She is.
I am forced to be.
It's the only choice you have.
A couple of weeks ago, the insurance
She's a doctor here in Iowa.
to
Yeah.
literally deny our approval, so we have to go through these prior
We'll let you go.
authorizations.
I
They're just dragging me out, but thank you.
It's commission-based
I appreciate
to
that.
deny you, which
Thank
is
you
why
for being
we
here.
Restore some sanity, and that starts with this overreaching regulatory state. No, thank you guys. Thank you, and it means a lot to me.
Good luck.
It's landed me when you tell me you have 6 kids. It really makes that.
It's all about the nuclear family.
Yep, it's about their next generation. So thank you, thank you. We'll take care. We'll see you. We'll see you soon. Oh, you are. You're going to be awesome. You're going to be awesome for that. Thank you. You're going to be one of our heroes because I know you can articulate it too.
I know
So.
what's in here, and God has me for some reason. I just
Thank
haven't
you.
seen quite what it is yet. My grandma was the same way.
Well, help put us
so-
for the next 20 days.
Yeah.
Let's channel that purpose.
Yeah, I will.
Thank you.
And my husband's on board finally.
I appreciate that. I'm glad you brought him today too.
He stood up and said that you are someone that he wants our daughters to be able to look up to. Because
That's a high standard.
We have Trump right now, and it's great to go to the China Bowl,
Yeah.
break up everything. But who do we have that says be like our president? And
I
that's
appreciate
what I'm
that.
telling our daughters right now.
How old are they? I met them. Just.
One just turned 2, actually, the day before I met you the other day.
Oh, is that right?
And
She
my
did?
other one's 4.
Okay.
So our kids are about the same age.
That's a high standard, and so hold me to that standard.
Yeah.
That's what we need to be held
You're
to.
already doing that by being you.
Thank you.
That's it.
It means a
You
lot.
be yourself.
Thank you. I want you to meet Apurva too. She's going to enjoy meeting
I know,
you.
I'm so excited
You guys
to
are going to have a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
yeah.
know. Yes.
Yeah.
So good with the
thank
kids,
you.
'cause my husband's
And you're
staying
still
home.
full time practicing full time.
Full time. My husband's staying home with the kids until they get older.
Thank you.
Because
Thank you. But you're finding time to phone bank for us in the middle
Oh,
too.
yeah. Yeah, we
I
had
appreciate
all
that.
of them. We drove
I
2
appreciate
hours
that.
to get here.
Thank you. Real quick question. Sure. We have about 30 seconds, and then we'll super quick.
Yeah, this morning Russia launched one of its biggest aerial invasions of Ukraine since the war began. What's your reaction to that, and what would your relationship with Putin be like if you were elected?
My relationship would be one of radical candor. I think that I'm not going to trust Putin just as he's not going to trust us. But we can trust each side to follow their own self-interest. My laser focus is on pulling Russia apart from its alliance with China. That's the top threat we face. And so I would look at how we could end this war on reasonable terms that weakens, if not ends, that Russia-China alliance. Just as Nixon did it with Mao in the early 1970s, I'm going to be able to do that as the next president.
And your reaction to today's aerial attack?
Look, I think that it's another step in the war, but I mean, we're going to have a blow-by-blow commentary. You could be going back for the last, 2 years. The strategic question for the U.S. is, how do we end this war on reasonable terms, pull Russia apart from the military alliance with China, learn the lesson that the next $100 billion isn't going to do something the first $100 billion didn't do, and actually have a sensible foreign policy that advances our interests. And I don't think it's in our interest to see this war continue.
What will the conversation be of reaching those terms, given the mistrust between Russia and Ukraine especially?
Yeah. So I think it's going to have to be a comprehensive conversation involving potentially a lever being reopening economic relations with Russia, but a hard requirement that they cease joint military exercises with China, a hard conversation about the future of NATO, an honest conversation to say that we're willing to say that NATO won't admit Ukraine to NATO, but Russia needs to exit its military alliance with China, get the nuclear weapons out of Kaliningrad, the strip of Russia that borders Poland, get the Russian military presence the heck out of the Western Hemisphere, Venezuela, Nicaragua, Cuba. So, this is going deeper than you're going to in a 2-second talking point, but a comprehensive resetting of our relations with Russia, moving from a bilateral international order that favors China right now to a trilateral one that Russia should find more attractive, because he doesn't enjoy being Xi Jinping's little brother in that relationship. But it's going to take real vision in our foreign policy to get there. And I think the very people in the U.S. who claim to have foreign policy experience, who have no idea which provinces they even want to fight for in eastern Ukraine, are not going to be the ones who lead us there with that vision. It's going to take somebody with a comprehensive vision for what that relationship looks like. And I think that's what I'm bringing to the table.
Different theme. Do you have New Year's resolution?
I was just starting to think of them. I got one today. I'll share with you the one Caroline asked me mine earlier today. My top one probably is to do more of Karthik's bedtimes, but also not to get duped into them lasting more than 1 hour. That will be the hardest part. He's probably a tougher negotiator than Vladimir Putin. So I think that's, see if I can do that. Believe me, I'm going to be able to negotiate and deal this country is going to need negotiated for it. I'll have more, but we'll start with that one. Yeah. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys. Thank you.